It was a blistering afternoon in downtown Chicago, the kind of heat that pressed down on every inch of skin, unforgiving and heavy. The city bustled with its usual rhythm, cars honking, people rushing past each other, everyone moving with purpose. Yet among the tide of ambition and indifference, a girl stood frozen on the edge of the sidewalk, swaying gently with exhaustion. Her name was Grace. She looked barely 23, but weariness had aged her. Her thin arms cradled a sleeping baby wrapped in a faded blue blanket. His tiny fists peeked out, twitching now and then. Grace hadn't eaten since the night before last, and the last of her strength had been spent walking 5 blocks in search of a church that might offer shelter. Her lips were cracked, her cheeks hollow, but her eyes burned with a mother's fierce determination. The baby stirred and whimpered. Grace whispered soothingly, pressing her cheek to his head. She didn't notice the sleek black car slowing at the intersection, or the suited man in the back seat glancing out from his screen-filled world of finance and deadlines. All she felt was the spinning of her head, the tightening of her chest, and then darkness. The baby cried as Grace collapsed to the pavement in front of the car. The door opened fast, even before the driver could react. A tall man in his late 30s stepped out, phone forgotten, alarm cutting through his features. His name was Ethan Carrington, CEO of Carrington Global, a multi-billion-dollar investment firm known as much for its ruthless expansion as for its iron-willed leader. He wasn't used to feeling helpless. But this. He crouched next to Grace, carefully lifting the baby first, then scooping her limp form into his arms. The crowd around them murmured. Phones came out to record, but Ethan ignored it all. "Call an ambulance," he barked at his driver. Now, Grace was featherlight, and yet there was something unbearably heavy about her. The weight of desperation clung to her like heat. In the hospital, Grace lay unconscious for hours. Ethan stayed. He didn't know why. Something in him refused to leave. Maybe it was the look on her face before she fainted, something raw, human, terrified. Or maybe it was the baby, who had calmed only when placed back against her chest. When she finally stirred, her lashes fluttering and breath catching in surprise, she jolted upright, arms instantly reaching for the child beside her. "He's okay," Ethan said softly, standing near the window. "He's safe. You both are." She stared at him. The man before her looked like he belonged on magazine covers, sharp jaw, tailored suit, the kind of presence that made people move aside. And yet there was something unusually gentle in his voice. She clutched the baby tighter. "Who are you?" she asked hoarsely. "I found you," Ethan replied. "You collapsed near my car. I brought you here." Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't mean to cause trouble." "You didn't," he said, stepping closer, then stopping as if afraid to scare her. "What's your name?" "Grace. And this is Noah. He's 8 months." Ethan nodded. "Grace, do you have someone I can call? Family? Friends?" She hesitated, then shook her head slowly. "No one." Something inside Ethan shifted. This wasn't a charity case. This wasn't business. This was something far more real. And perhaps that was why it scared him. But not enough to walk away. "Then you're not alone anymore," he said quietly. Grace stared at him in disbelief. 1,000 emotions flickered behind her tired eyes: doubt, fear, hope. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you help me?" Ethan paused. He had built empires. He had made decisions that moved markets. But nothing had ever required the kind of answer she now asked of him. "Because I saw you," he finally said. "And I couldn't look away."